If you've been waiting on a team to build Scareclaw, there has never been a better time. This meta is basically custom built to guarantee you're gonna win. Hello everyone, and today we're going to be talking about Scareclaw. So Scareclaw is, of course, the deck that we played on stream, playing through the Duel Triangle event. It's also one I've been playing a lot of ranked with, because this is quite possibly the most custom-built a metagame has been to the success of Scareclaw since the deck came out. So if you're a fan of this deck, if you got a build, or if you've been thinking about building it, there has never been a better time. Now, what exactly do I mean by custom built for this metagame? So let's figure out the other top dog of the game, and that is Tenpai. What makes Tenpai so special? Well, number one, they want to go second, and number two, they want to attack to trigger their effects. Let's stop them from doing both. Number one, Scareclaw is a blind second deck, which means 50% of the time, assuming we're going against Tenpai, of course, which is by far the most popular deck right now, 50% of the time, you've basically automatically won by forcing them to go first. Big ups. Against basically every other deck, you're going to be going second, which means that you're already being put into your sort of prime area of expertise. The only time you're ever going to be forced to go first is if you lose the coin toss into Tenpai. So let's talk about what you do in that situation. Well, our strategy revolves around two cards. The Scareclaw Tryhard, the tried and true boss monster of Scareclaw, as well as a continuous spell card called Scareclaw Defanging. So how does this counter Tenpai? Well, it is really rather simple. Scareclaw operates off of two bases. Number one, they break boards, and number two, they attack. So let's stop them from doing both. Scareclaw Defanging protects all of your link monsters, your Scareclaw link monsters, from targeting effects and effect destruction, automatically making them immune to the vast majority of board breakers. The only one that Tenpai plays that you'll still have issues with is in the event Droplet, and in the latter you also have Super Poly to worry about, but those are the only two. Basically every other board breaker is virtually useless against you, unless they're running at least sort of two or more, and at least one of which dealing with the back row. So this really drastically reduces their options for how they're going to deal with your Tryhard. Secondly, if any monster is destroyed by battle by your Link Scareclaw monster, it gets banished. That's pretty awesome. But not only that, if you sort of once per turn, you can banish a Scareclaw Link monster from your field or graveyard to target a card on the field and destroy it. So we've got protection, we've got the banishment, the punishment, and we've also got a once per turn pop. So Defanging is an awesome card. And then we have Tryhard himself, who forces all of your opponent's monsters into defense position. Good luck triggering all of those battle phase effects when you can't even attack. Not only that, he is also unaffected by the activated effects of monsters in defense position. I can't tell you how many times our opponent has tried to Cosmic Blizzard negate our Tryhard, or Black Rose Dragon wipe the field of our Tryhard, just trying to do anything to get rid of this guy, and he just goes nowhere. Absolute beast, and he very easily puts lethal on board by bringing back from your graveyard a level 3 Scareclaw monster, which will be your Scareclaw Astra in 90% of circumstances, which gets you additional attacks, while also searching your deck for the Scareclaw Kashtira, which you summon out, which grants you lethal damage. The Tryhard can attack twice, that's 6,000. Scareclaw Kashtira attacks for 26. That's game. So I have a bunch of replays that I want to show off. I have like 5 replays because they're all really rather quick, because the games with this deck don't really take that long. Some of them against Tenpai, some of them against other decks that we came across in the Link Festival. The deck also works on the rank ladder. I would recommend playing the Kashtira cards in addition to this, but the idea and the combos and the basic principles all match up. So if you're watching this after the event is finished and you still want to play Scareclaw, number one, you just basically add the cash cards into this list and it works just fine. But number two, I will be coming out with a separate video talking about a ranked version specifically. But again, do watch this one because all of the combos and all of the decks will be explained here. So it'll put you at a massive advantage for building into the ladder. Now, in terms of combo guides, I'm going to show you the combo guide for this deck. It is basically very, very straightforward. Any one of your Scareclaw normal summons is a 1-card starter. A common misconception is the field spell being a 1-card starter, which unironically isn't really that good of a draw, which is why we're only playing it at 2. But I'll show you a combo with basically all of the Scareclaws. It's all the exact same combo, so we'll do one combo, 5 replays, and I'll do a card-for-card deck profile at the end, as well as talking about a couple of other considerations you can make while building this deck. So if you're interested in this style of content, or anything else, of course, that we do on the channel, make sure you subscribe to catch it as it comes out, and especially catching our live streams. We sort of built this deck and played these games on a live stream, which you'll see in the corner, in one of the corners, I don't know, somewhere. So do stick around, catch our notifications for live streams, because they are definitely a blast. Yeah, that's pretty much us. Let's get into the combo. Alrighty, so here we are. And the combo is identical for every single one of your Scareclaws. So if you draw any copy of Astra, Balloon, Acro, or Rykart, the sequencing changes slightly with Rykart, but it's the same combo. Or in fact, you draw a copy of Perry's map, you can do the full combo. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to start with Perry's map, just so I can show like the additional step, but just, it's the same as drawing any Scareclaw. Let's grab Below. Doesn't really matter which. Now what we're going to do is we're going to normal summon any Scareclaw, right? Now we're going to link 1 into the Scareclaw Lightheart. This guy is a wonderfully powerful link 1. On summon, he basically gets to search your deck for the field spell. Because we have a Royal, he always grabs the Royal, which is kind of fucking nice. So now we're going to activate the primitive planet Rhyphobia. Rhyphobia then going to search our deck for our Rykart. So if you didn't start the combo of Rykart, this is when you grab him. So we'll grab our Rykart here. And then Rykart's going to special summon itself out to the field, directly underneath or adjacent to any one of your Scareclaw cards. We're going to activate his effect, and this is where you kind of have to make a decision in regards to your end board. So right here, you can grab either Arrival, or you can grab Defanging. So the difference in terms of what you grab depends on what's in your hand. If you have any extender in your hand, which is any Scareclaw monster, anything like that at all, you go for Defanging. If you have absolutely nothing, if you've just got Scareclaw starter and 5 hand traps, 5 board breakers, whatever, then you grab Arrival. So I'm going to show you the Arrival side of it. We're going to activate the Arrival, which is going to bring a monster back from the graveyard right here. And then we just, very, very simply, we link 3 into our Tryhard. Tryhard then is going to activate. We're going to bring back one of the Scareclaws from grave. Right there. As well as grabbing another one from deck. You grab the Scareclaw Cashier here. You can see we've already got it in hand. So grab Scarecash. And you summon the Scarecash by banishing the Rykart from the graveyard. So usually you want to keep Lightheart in grave, so you can banish it off of Defanging's pop effect. Rykart in grave isn't super valuable, to be perfectly honest. And this is pretty much it. So with Tryhard, all of your opponent's monsters are going to be forced into defense position. He is unaffected by the activated effects of defense position monsters. And if at the beginning of this combo you had any extender, like I talked about, you would also have Scareclaw Defanging on this board to protect him from targeting and card effects. So in order to get the full benefit of the Scareclaw board, you need your starter and any extender to get the untargeting and indestructible. If you don't have an extender of any way, shape, or form, you can still at the very least set up Tryhard, and Tryhard will be protected or backed up by 4 additional cards, which is still going to be very difficult for a Tenpai player to deal with. And against any other deck, you're going to be going second, so we would have been Raigekiing away all your monsters, and we would have been attacking directly for 8,000 damage. Of course, we would have set up Astra instead of Balloon, but same difference. But that's basically it. The deck is that simple. It's plug and play, ridiculously easy, relatively cheap as well. I'm going to be talking about the budget end of things at the end when we're talking about the deck profile, but that's pretty much the combo. I don't know what else to say. It's that simple. Let's get into the games. Already getting into our first replay, we are going second against Tenpai, and in the event, for whatever reason, if you force Tenpai to go first, they actually kind of struggle. I can't remember if they... Yeah, we won and we chose to go second, so we forced Tenpai to go first, which is sort of step 1 in countering them. I do remember that this guy did have quite a number of hand traps though, so I don't think we're able to secure lethal this turn, but let's play it out and we'll see. So they're going to Ash our right card. That does suck, but it's whatever. We're going to go into the Light Heart now using our aggro. Light Heart then going to activate. We're going to get hit with the Gamma here. So the combination of Gamma in particular is a tough one because it means that we have less bodies on board for even additional link plays after that. So Gamma's a really hard one, especially after an Ash. So we're going to go in the another Light Heart. We're going to grab our Field Spell just in order to essentially sort of thin the deck out, making sure we get our Surges and our Extenders. Grabbing the Scareclaw Cashdera, which does even by itself pose a bit of a threat to Tenpai. We've also got Droplet, as well as all the board breakers you could possibly ask for. So all we need to do is survive a single turn. He's going to go Dark Hole. We really don't care about Dark Hole, so that's fine. Going to go Dora now. Dora going to search the deck for Tenpai, Dragon, Chundra. Activating Dora going to show us the Fadra, milling Fadra off the top, activating the Chundra to summon itself out to the field. That's where we're going to go for Scarcash because he went to go into the battle phase. Going to go for Ghost Spell here. Ghost Spell is unfortunately going to prevent the summoning of the Scareclaw Cashdera. Now again, this looks like Goodnight Irene, but they're going to swing in with a Dora. We're going to go for Bidden Droplet, dropping the Scarcash and the Field Spell. I don't know why I dropped both. I just did. I reduced both his monsters down. I should realistically just have dropped the Scareclaw and negated the Chundra and just kept the Field Spell around, but to be honest, the Field Spell has sort of lost all value, so it's fine. And the reason we needed to drop the Scareclaw is because we needed to make sure he couldn't activate a monster effect specifically. So main phase 2, he goes through all the motions, plays all his monsters, it doesn't matter, it's main 2. I'm safe, you're powerless. It is now my turn. Top decking into the Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm wipe the field one more time. Going into the Rykart normal summon, grabbing a Scareclaw Arrival. Arrival then is not going to be used yet. We're going to go for Light Heart. First of all, Light Heart then activating the Searcher deck for the Field Spell, the Reichphobia, activating Reichphobia, grabbing the Astra from the deck. Astra is the key to lethal because it allows you to do multiple attacks, but it is worth bearing in mind. You do not always want to attack 3 times into Tenpai because of their graveyard monsters, so don't be afraid to simply stop at 2 attacks and pass turn, because if you've done this amount of damage to your Tenpai opponent, they're really going to struggle to come back, especially through a Tryhard. So we're going to take our 2 swings of 6k, and we're going to pass. If we swung with Cashdera, that would have been the declaration of the third attack, meaning his 2 Tenpai Dragons and Grave could have come back. He's going to go Fadra on normal, so I'm going to bring back the Chundra, but the Chundra cannot do anything because it is now in defense mode. Synchro Summon into the Black Rose Dragon. Black Rose Dragon activating its effect, wiping the field. Except Tryhard's still here. Tryhard is still here. Not only does he have protection from destruction effects from Arrival in the graveyard, he himself is also just unaffected by defense position monster effects. We take our final attack, and that is game. So that's showing again how the deck not only forcing Tenpai to go first, which is huge because they don't do jack shit going first, but secondly, you're also putting your opponent in a very awkward position. We played through quite a number of hand traps too. We had really sort of good reciprocal back and forward flow there. We maintained control of the game, beginning to end. Ultimately, a very, very good game. Alrighty, now up against the third most popular deck of the Duel Triangle. This is going to be an Ace Barrier match. Starting off with Ace Jade Ran Azurine, they're going to go into a Synchro 10 with their Lancia of Rip. Now, Ace Barrier is a very tricky deck to lock down, especially when they start doing weird plays like this. They're going to go Gorgeous, and using a 6 and a 4, they're going to go straight into Baron de Fleur. They're not even going to waterlock themselves, which allows them to keep additional resources in hand, plus an Omni Negate is very effective in a board breaker meta. Unfortunately, we just have a little too much for our opponent to handle. They're going to go Baron de Fleur to negate our Lightning Storm. We're going to go Droplet, dropping the Lightning Storm to negate the Baron de Fleur to make sure that our Lightning Storm resolves. We're going to destroy all of his attack position monsters. That will, of course, trigger Lancia. When destroyed, will summon out a Ace Barrier Synchro. We're going to go into Trishula here. Trishula is going to activate to banish a card from the graveyard and one from my hand. They're going to get rid of Droplet and Arrival. Arrival's a good hit for our opponent. We're going to go Triple Tactics first, grabbing Triple Tactics talent directly from deck to hand. They're going to go for Drool and Lock Bird, which really hurts this deck quite a lot, actually. We're going to go Talent. We're going to take his Trishula for ourselves. We're going to swing for 27, the all-important 0 attack point hit from the aggro. Now we're going to link into S SP Little Knight. Little Knight then going to activate on summon to banish the revealer from the graveyard. What we're effectively going to be doing from this stage on is ensuring that we're keeping control of the economy of the game. They're going to go Mirror Mage off the top, swinging in to the SP Little Knight, then activating damage calculation to search the deck for wins over the Ice Barrier. A very ballsy move. Our opponent basically betting that we're not going to draw a Scareclaw card, and unfortunately it paid off, and he does in fact get an extra turn out of this. So I'm going to take my 16 and I'm going to pass it back to you, my friend. They're going to go off the top here again into the Mirror Mage. Sorry, Medallion into Mirror Mage. Medallion off the top is an amazing draw for our opponent. They're going to go into the Ice Barrier, tributing the Mirror Mage to special out the Revealer. Mirror Mage then going to grab him a card from the graveyard, or sorry, from his deck, that I imagine he was going to use as discard fodder for the Revealer, where instead of going to banish the Revealer before he has that card in hand, making sure he doesn't actually have any fruitful plays. And the turn rolls around, we get one more draw phase, and we happen to draw in the Scareclaw below. Now that our extra monster zone is no longer clogged, we're going to go in to the Lightheart. Lightheart then going to grab our Reichphobia directly from the deck, activate it, and our opponent knows that it is game over. There is no hope of him surviving that turn. Alrighty, playing into some Resonators. Gonna normal summon our Soul Resonator. Gonna grab the Bone Archfiend directly from deck to hand. Gonna activate the Bone Archfiend. Then we're gonna drop a card from the hand to the grave to summon himself. Activating this on effect. Gonna send Crimson. Gonna reduce him down to 3. We've all seen this combo. I've played this deck God knows how many times on my channel. So if anyone's watching this and doesn't know how Resonators work, go watch those videos. They're really, really good. So they're going to go into Scarred here, going through the motions, Crimson Gaia, grabbing the red zone, doing all of the various shenanigans that Resonators are known for, including their on-field Omni-Negate. Into the RDA, I'm going to go then Vision back to hand, summon the Vision, go into the red Nova Dragon. Now this I thought was really cool. I thought the red Nova Dragon was an excellent touch to the end board here. And the reason it's an excellent touch is its requirements for Synchro Summon are specifically 2 tuners and the Red Dragon Archfiend. Now, why does that matter? Well, Red Zone, a card that many RDA players have been frustrated with at one point or another in the past. For you to use this card's effect to pump a card, you have to control a card that specifically mentions Red Dragon Archfiend. You'd think that most cards do that, but in actual fact, very, very, very few of the RDA archetype actually mention the original Hot Red Dragon Archfiend in their text. This guy does, because it is mentioned in the summoning requirements, which is why it's here. I just thought that was pretty cool. Getting into our turn, we're of course going to start with the Peri's Map, because you have to. It has to be the first thing you do during your main phase if you want to use this card. We use a Debater and Ash Blossom. That's pretty good from my perspective. So they're going to activate the red one here just to make sure it's face up. We already knew that he had it because he did search for it last turn, so it's not as if he's revealing knowledge to us that we didn't have. We're going to go Harpies. He's going to chain the red zone. I'm not entirely sure why. We're now going to go for the Droplet, pitching the Harpies Feather Duster. He's going to go for the Abyss to negate the Droplet. Really weird chain. This just worked strangely. I'm not entirely sure why this guy did what he did, especially considering he actually has Soul Resonator engraved to protect his back row. So I think he forgot about that. We're going to go Talon grab Reinforcement of the Army. Rhoda then going to grab, of course, the Reichheart from deck to hand. We're going to normal summon Balone. We're going to activate the Fanging so that when we go into our Lightheart, it is untargetable. Not that he has anything left to target it with, but it is in fact now untargetable and indestructible. Going for the Primitive Planet Reichphobia, grabbing Astra directly from the deck, summon the Astra, summon the Reichheart. Now we're going to search our deck for a card. He is going to go for the Veiler onto the Reichheart, which I felt the Veiler coming, because when we summoned Balone, he had an interruption, and when we summoned Lightheart, he didn't. So that told us that it was absolutely effect Veiler. It could be no other card, but we decided it was worth playing into anyways, just to get the card out of his hand, if nothing else. We're going to go into the Triheart now, switching all his monsters to defense. Now we're going to go for Triheart's effect, grabbing Astra back from the graveyard, and Scareclaw cash to hand. We're going to go for Reichphobia, popping the Crimson Gaia, which is going to prevent him from bringing back his RDA upon the destruction of his cards. We're going to go Defanging to pop his red zone, getting rid of the rest of his back row. Now we're going to summon out our Kashtira. We're going to swing in, take taking out the Red Nova. Remember, any monster destroyed by battle by our Tryhard because of defanging is banished. We're permanently taking care of these cards. So they're gone. His backer was gone, his follow-up was gone, 26 to the face. Our opponent is down to a top deck situation, but unfortunately in their graveyard rests a 1-card combo, that being the Bone Archfiend. Summoning out the Bone Archfiend, going to activate its effect and change its own level to 3 by sending Vision Resonator. Vision Resonator then going to grab Crimson Gaia directly from deck to hand, going to activate the Crimson Gaia. Using its effect, they're going to grab the Soul Resonator they have yet to normal summon. Normal summon the Soul Resonator, of course, switch the defense, going to activate, search the deck for the Overloop without Red Zone. Overloop, unfortunately, is not especially useful for our opponent. They're going to go into the Red Rising Dragon, Red Rising, bringing back the Crimson Resonator. Crimson Resonator activating to summon out an additional Soul Resonator directly from the deck. Scarlet Dragon Archfiend is going to come out, going to try and pop all our monsters, but unfortunately, again, our Tryhard is unaffected by defense position monsters and protected even more so by the defanging. So they're going to go Overloop here, banishing RDA, but they don't have any level 12s left to summon, so they are forced to pass turn back to us. I'm looking at this board, I'm thinking, get this shit out of here, clearing the Crimson Gaia, Raigeki, wipe the field, no Soul Resonator engraved this time to protect him, and just like that, the Scard is going to bring back another card. That's totally fine. RDA comes back, but that's okay. I've got another pop of main for you, buddy. Bringing back the Astra, searching for Scareclaw. We're now going to summon the Scareclaw out to the field, and our opponent basically surrenders. Just that easy. So that would have been lethal damage. We would have done Scareclaw, 6k, 3k, 3k, 6k direct damage, and it would have been game. So yeah, really interesting match against Resonators, but we absolutely do not lose to Red Dragon Archfiend. Alrighty, this next one is quick, short, and sweet up against Tenpai. We are forced to go first. We are in our most disadvantageous position, but we know that we have the gas we need to survive. So we're going to go Reichphobia here, grabbing, of course, the Scareclaw Rykart. We're going to use the Rykart. We're going to use its effect to grab Defanging, a crucial part of our anti-Tenpai strategy. We're going to bring back the Asher from the graveyard off of the arrival that we already have. We're going to go in now to the Scareclaw Tryhard. Scareclaw Tryhard activating, bringing back the Asher, being met with Gamma. Unfortunately, I did not activate the Scareclaw Defanging, meaning that our Tryhard was in fact vulnerable to destruction. Luckily, we did have the Scareclaw Arrival in Graveyard, which did protect it this time around. Very silly mistake. Make sure you use Defanging as soon as you get it. Crucial mistake. We really could have fucked that up, but we didn't, so it's okay. Looking at the hand, the only card here that terrified me was Heavy Storm. Heavy Storm is gone. Get that weak shit out of here. And even if he did still have the Heavy Storm, all he would have been getting rid of was our Defanging. He would not have had a way to deal with the Tryhard. Our opponent basically sets the back row that they just drew. Remember, we know exactly what their hand was. They had full as hell combo. They had Pydra, Genroku, and I believe it was Kaiman, right? So there's a card set here. We're going to basically activate Defang and clear out the Imperm that he drew that he wasn't able to use because we're untargetable anyway. We're going to grab Astra, summon the Astra, summon the Rykart. Rykart's going to grab us an additional copy of Arrival. We're going to draw into Raigeki off the additional draw of Rykart, summon out Scareclaw into the battle phase. 26, 3k, and 3k for game. This is how most of your games against Tenpai going first will go. If you're able to set up the Tryhard and the Defanging, you're able to very easily prevent them from being able to do anything. He could absolutely have normal summoned Pydra. He could even have normal summoned the Genroku and gone through and made all of these plays. None of them would have meant a goddamn thing. Already getting into our next game here, going second, of course, which is our objective, playing in the Centurion. Centurion, one of the more popular decks, not only in this event, but also on the ladder. I think people aren't putting the respect on Centurion that it deserves. It is a popular choice, and it is a popular choice for a reason. It is a really solid deck. So they're going to go through, play a few cards. We've all seen Centurion at work. They're going to go for the Exilia here. Gargoyle going to add itself back to hand. Exilia going to search the deck for an additional card upon being summoned. They're going to grab their Counter Trap, the True Awakening. So that Counter Trap is definitely a bit of a problem. It does come with additional resource management from our opponent, but it is more than worth the cost, especially considering they have more than enough on their field to easily pay that cost. We're simply going to top deck Raigeki though, which is not the greatest in this situation, but we're going to try and make it work. They're going to go for the True Awakening on Reichphobia. They did not waste any time. I guess they assumed that that was my starter, which was kind of my point. I wanted to see if that was the case. We're going to go for the Raigeki, clearing out the Auxilia here. In the Scareclaw defanging, Scareclaw defanging going to be met with a Cosmic Cyclone. So our opponents basically just got outs and outs and outs and outs. We're going to go into the Lightheart. Lightheart then going to activate on, so I'm going to grab our Reichphobia directly for deck to hand. We're just going to try to beat that remaining card. We don't know what that remaining face down card is. All we know is that we have more than likely enough gas to play through it at this stage. We're going to go Arrival. Arrival's going to bring back the Astra. Now we're going to link 3 into the Tryhard. You'll notice how we basically haven't used anything else. If you're in a position to where you don't have a ton of the generic sort of extra deck cards, and it's going to cost you a shitload of URCP, just look at this gameplay. We're not using any of them other than SP. So rest assured, this deck is very budget friendly. We're going to swing in, deal a little bit of damage. Unfortunately, not able to put Astra on board, which does limit our ability to go for lethal. I'm actually a liar. I made a mistake there. If I searched for Astra instead of searching for the Scareclaw Kashtira, I would have had lethal. Do bear that in mind. Look for those little opportunities, those little optimizations where maybe I've misplayed. It's easy as the observer to see that we fucked up. And if you go back and watch the stream footage, it was pretty funny. But yeah, we did definitely mess up. They're going to go Primera here. Primera then going to activate its effect. They're going to grab the Centurion Bonds directly from the deck to the hand. They're going to activate Bonds. Bonds then going to grab MF back from the graveyard. MF then going to activate, summon itself out of the field as a level 8 switch to defense. The field spell then going to be activated to immediately synchro summon into Auxilia. Then Centurion Bonds in the graveyard going to activate, placing Primera into the back row. They're now going to go for Auxilia's effect. We're going to go Droplet here. Droplet is basically to prevent him from getting his hands on the Phalanx Trap card. The Trap card is the only thing that poses even a remote problem to us right now. And it's really not even that big of a deal. But if I can avoid him getting his hands on that Trap card, I would like to. And what our opponent probably doesn't even realize right now is that I'm going to go Lightheart. Lightheart basically is just a... we don't actually need the Lightheart itself. We just needed basically another cache in the graveyard. They're going to do their whole Centurion bullshit. They're going to go Primera, and the Field Spell are both going to activate. Field Spell is going to grant them the ability to quick play Synchro Summon into a 12. They're going to go Crimson Dragon, of course. Then the Primera is going to search their deck for an additional card. What do we got here? Alright, the Field Spell, that's fine. Grabbing another Field Spell, because they think they're getting another turn, right? They're going to go Crimson Dragon, targeting a 12, summoning a 12. The Cosmic Blaze our Dragon into the SP Little Knight. I basically just want to clear as much of his board as I possibly can, getting rid of that face down cross-out designator, going to target the aggro, and again, people don't read. They think they can negate my card. I'm going to use that opportunity to go for SP Little Knight to remove itself and the Auxilia from the board, but it doesn't matter. Blizzard does nothing. We grab the aggro, we grab the Balloon. The Balloon gives my Tryhard piercing damage, lethal, 1600 over the Trudea for very easy lethal damage. Just like that, all of your Tryhards, Scareclaws, whatever, have very useful effects for your Tryhard. Do make sure you're looking for opportunities to fully abuse all of them. And there you have it. There is the deck and it in action. So you'll see a lot of those games very straightforward. Your deck's very difficult to deal with, and it can deal with boards very easily, thanks to not only its inherent nature as a very aggressive deck, but also the number of board breakers and potential extenders you have. So you can play through quite a bit of interruption as well. So let's go through the deck list here. This is the list we were using specifically in the event. If you were to play this in ranked, you, of course, would make a number of adjustments. First and foremost, you would play the Kashtira cards. I am going to do another deck list, or deck profile on that very shortly, but I did do a few in the past, and the deck really hasn't changed an awful lot. A couple of extra deck tweaks, just with a couple of new tools, but honestly, the primary sort of flavor of the deck is all the same. So let's talk about the main deck. First and foremost, 3 of every Scareclaw sort of main deck monster. We got Astra, Balloon, Acro, and Rykard all at 3. 2 copies of the Scareclaw Kashtira. Now 3 copies of all of your main deck sort of Scareclaws just maxes out the consistency of the deck as much as you possibly can. They all act as starters and they all act as extenders. There is none of them that you don't want in hand. There is 0 reason not to play all of them. at 3 in a pure Scareclaw build like this. Right card as well, grabbing additional cards is awesome. The Scareclaw Kashtira, you can get away with playing one of this if you really want to. There are certainly some hands where it's not the greatest thing to have, but the second one has come up and sealed me more than once, so that one's more of a personal preference thing. You definitely don't need more than one Scareclaw Kashtira. Now, a few of these upcoming ratios are specific to an event variant of the deck. So for some consistency tools, we're playing Reinforcements of the Army as a 4th copy of Reichhardt. We're playing Perry's Map, which will grab you any of your low-level Scareclaws, and none of the restrictions of this card actually apply to your deck. All of these guys, their effects are all inherent. Their special summon from hand is inherent. So none of these cards actually need to be activated per se, meaning the restrictions of Perry's Map is basically nothing, right? You can only use one of these per turn, and that has to be at the start of the main phase. So if you draw into it, it's not all that useful. So running 1 or 2 of it is definitely the way. Running 3 of it is not the greatest idea, because if you open with multiple, or if you like draw into one off a Reichhardt, it's not the greatest feeling in the world. So definitely 2 Perry's Map is where we sort of found our sweet spot. Arrival is a card you can play, honestly, between 1 to 3 copies of this card. For many ranked variations of the deck, I would play 1, maybe 2 copies. In the event, I've been playing 3 because this is the card that enables you to basically go into your defanging. Like I said at the very beginning, if you have any of your Scareclaw starters and any extender, this guy included, then you can go for your full play with the defanging. So definitely, I think 3 Arrival in a build like this, where we're specifically trying to counterdeck Tenpai, is a good idea. You could even extrapolate that same logic to the rank ladder, where Tenpai is just as important. So definitely not a bad idea to consider playing 3 on a rank ladder either. We got 2 copies of the Primitive Planet Reichphobia. You could play 3 if you want. I think 1 is a little bit of a stretch. 2, I think, is the sweet spot. It is not a starter card, and that is a bit of a misconception. This card by itself does not actually enable you to do very much. So don't it's not a great idea to have. It is an okay extender, right? It helps you if you just have it in hand. I mean, you don't need to resolve Lightheart, so it helps you play through certain forms of hand traps and such. So it's not like the worst thing in the world to see in hand, but this card by itself does not start any of your play. So I think 2 is the perfect amount for this. Again, 2 copies of Defanging, very similar. It's not a card that I main seeing in hand. If anything, it's actually quite good to help protect my Lightheart from the likes of Imperm and Veiler, as well as like from Destruction off of Gamma. So there's a few reasons as to why you might want to play 2 copies of Defanging. I mostly just wanted to see it as consistently as possible through Interruption. So I think 2 is a really good number for that as well. And lastly, we have Straddle and Twin Saw as one-ofs. Straddle basically protects one of your Scareclaws from targeting, or it can have one of your Scareclaws gain attack equal to an opposing monster's attack or defense, whichever's higher, which kind of comes up, but it's mostly targeting protection. And then we've got Twin Saw, which is basically just Scareclaw Blackout, where we tribute a Scareclaw and then target 2 cards your opponent controls and pop both. It's a really nice as a fallback play with, just like normal summon Reichhardt, or if you get like Maxi isn't legal in the event, but if you're in the rank ladder and you're playing this and you get Maxied on the summon a Reichhardt, then passing on a Blackout isn't the worst play in the world. So it definitely has its place, but Twin Saw and Straddle, definitely optional cards, I would say. Definitely optional. Straddle especially didn't feel very good sometimes. And the rest of the main deck is essentially just board breakers. So we've got our double Raigeki, 1 Harpy's Feather Dancer. This could be Dark Hole if you want. I just have 2 Raigeki, and I don't know why you would ever play Dark Hole over Raigeki in a deck like this. You're not getting any advantage off of your cards being destroyed, so you might as well just play Raigeki, right? So, but if you don't have double Raigeki, or if you don't have Raigeki at all, then Dark Hole is totally fine as a budget replacement. Duster, Heavy Storm, and a Lightning Storm, all big back row removal. These cards have been instrumental, especially in certain back row centric matchups. I would definitely recommend, if you don't have these cards, tag in back row removal of your own. Removing back row was super ridiculously important. Ideally normal spells, because you want to be able to search them off of Thrust, which we're playing 2 of. We've also got Triple Tactic Talent. It's a really good staple. Double Droplet. Droplet has been really good. It does demand a lot of hand saves, but luckily your deck, it doesn't really discard very much. So you typically can afford a decent cost off a droplet. So droplet's fine in this deck, I would say. And then triple imperm, just as our bread and butter hand trap, as well as weak board breaker-esque card. Imperm is a really nice mid-ground between hand trap and board breaker, so I do really like playing that as well. Decent thrust target if you have nothing else in a pinch as well. As for the extra deck, literally the only cards that matter are Lightheart and Tryhard. You can run them at 2 apiece if you really want to. None of these other cards matter, other than, I would say, SP. Even Eve Masquerada. Never summoned it. These are the only cards you need. Double Lightheart, double Tryhard, 1 SP. Again, ideally in an event like this where your extra deck is rather limited, you might as well just triple up on your Scareclaws, and then the rest of your extra deck, literally just generic bullshit of whatever the hell you want to summon, whatever you have access to. It literally doesn't matter. I can almost guarantee you that you will summon them maybe once a blue moon. So don't worry too much about the extra deck. Just put in what you've got. But Lightheart and Tryhard are the big ones. SP does come up often enough to be considered mandatory. So those are the main targets. Everything else, just play what you've got. And that's pretty much the whole deck. Again, the deck is not complicated. It is very simple. It plays a lot like Tenpai, if I'm being honest. It just has a bunch of monsters that are all 1-card starters, and then it has a shitload of board breakers that it uses to totally ruin your day. And if it manages to do that, then it normally wins. We've talked about the strats, we talked about the combos, and now we have talked about the deck list. So if you got this far into the video and you still haven't pressed like for whatever reason, you can quickly fix that now if you want to. It's right down below, totally free. It's not going to hurt you, I promise. You can also subscribe if you want to catch notifications on future videos, and more importantly, our live streams, which is where we normally play these decks live. So you can see decision making, deck building, all of that in progress for those who want more guidance, more information, or for maybe people who want to call cap. Go watch it live, right? So that's pretty much everything from me. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.